Hey everyone, thanks for that intro. So let's go ahead and see. There we go. So yeah, we're going to be going over the Infrascale 7.0 launch. My name is Chris Bain. I'm the Chief Solutions Architect here at Infrascale. My email address is down there. If any of you guys have questions that you want to shoot me an email about, or want to schedule a private demo or something like that, just let me know, and I can help get you in touch with your sales rep and make sure that we get that covered. Now, that being said, we can go over a little bit about who I am. I've been doing backup disaster recovery for over 20 years now. Started out with Lockheed Martin, working with them. Came over to Veritas for a long time. I was there for about 18 years, specializing in clustering, replication, backup and recovery. I was actually in New York for 9/11, so I've actually done some disaster recovery. So hopefully I can bring some of that real-world experience to this conversation and help you guys understand what's great about the Infrascale solution, and not just our solution, but this update to 7.0 that we have right now. So here's a little agenda about what I'm hoping to cover today. So we're going to go over what's in the update, how do we find that information out, how do we update to the latest version, what's the new stuff that's kind of cool that's going to help your customers out, and some tips and tricks for people who are actually deploying the solution and managing it, kind of some of that back-end great stuff that we've added in to make it a lot easier to deploy and manage the solution. So the first thing we're going to look at here is we're going to look at what's in the update, right? So how do we find out what's in the update? Let's go ahead and take a look over here. If we go into the Infrascale dashboard, which a lot of you are probably familiar with, here we can come up and we can go to Help, and we can look at the release notes. So if we say the release notes disaster recovery, that's going to go ahead and bring up the notes here that we have. These are all at docs.infrascale.com. So it's a really great location to find all the documentation from how to set it up, how to install different agents, how to configure everything, and then also all the release notes. So if we come down here and we look at the 7.0 general release notes, we can see all the things that were added, we can see all the things that were changed, all the things that were fixed, and even some things that were removed. So I'm going to draw you through some of the highlights of that. But if you're interested and you want to get a lot more information, here's one place that you can look. Now, if we come over and we look at one of the appliance interfaces, we can see here, if we come over to Help, and we say we want to see release notes, that's going to bring us to the same place. So we have moved the release notes from the appliance, where they used to be over here on the support tab. We have moved them up to Help release notes. So that's going to take you to docs.infrascale.com. Again, it's got the latest and greatest information on all the release notes for any of our solutions, not just for this particular solution, but our direct-to-cloud, our cloud application backup, so anything that we offer. Let's go ahead and take a look here. At how do we get this update, right? So we know that there's an update out there. How are you going to find out that there's an update? Well, you're going to get an email that there's an update. That's one option that we've got. If we take a look here, we can see here that we've got these little asterisks, and they tell us that there's a new version available. So how do we update from that? It's really easy. We can just come over here and we can tell it that we want to update the primary appliance. What that's going to do is update that primary appliance, and then that's going to automatically update the secondary appliance for you. Now, if we are, say, on the appliance, do we get any kind of notification? Well, absolutely. So we click here that we want to go in and we want to manage this particular appliance. It's going to go ahead and bring up that local dashboard for us. And within that local dashboard, you can see right here, there's an update available. So we can see what version we're currently running. And then we can see what version that's available. We hit install, it's going to download it. Well, actually, at this point, it's already downloaded. It's going to do a CRC check and make sure that it's the legitimate update. And then it's going to go ahead and give us the option to reboot. Now, we have a couple options here. We can automatically down the appliances. So that's where I said it's already downloaded, because I've chosen to automatically download the updates. And then here, we also have it automatically update the Windows agents. Now, it does say underneath that, hey, if you choose this option, there's a chance it'll reboot the Windows client. Now, that's true if there aren't some of the parts and pieces that we need in there that from Microsoft require a reboot. It will cause a reboot on that Windows appliance. So you could choose to leave it unchecked. Now, if we look here at clients, we can see what it looks like when we leave something unchecked, right? It's going to give us a little option to go ahead and update those clients at a later point. So we don't have to update them all ahead of time. We can actually update them as we're going along and as we're running with this solution. Here, if we say Manage Primary, I know this one actually has some clients that haven't been updated yet, so I'll be able to show you what that little exclamation point looks like. Now, all the functionality is still going to work, even if you don't update those clients. So you're still going to be able to back them up. You're still going to be able to restore to them and all that. It's just going to give you a little alert saying, hey, this particular client's not running the latest version of the software. Would you like to update to that? And then you have the option to say yes or no, whether or not you want to update to that latest version of the client. Now, it does look like here I'm having a little bit of an internet hiccup bringing this interface up. So we'll go ahead and jump to the next thing that I want to talk about, and then we'll circle back to this at the end if we have a second. So here, one of the things that we've added is the ability to import and export backup jobs. So where this is important is if you're offering your customers a solution, and say you're doing hourly backups or every 4-hour backups or whatever it is, the solution that you're providing to them, this gives you the ability to set up that config on one of our appliances, export it, and then while you're rolling out new appliances, go ahead and import that and then show that configuration off. Now, another option that we've added in here is we've added in a new backup agent. So typically if someone's having a problem using a client to back up a Windows server, there's a chance they would have that same problem using Infrascale. There is some shared backend architecture that a lot of the backup providers use, but with this release of the software, we've actually added in our Ignyte. So our Ignyte is our ground-up built client for Windows. So in all of the test cases that I've run into where we might be having an issue backing up a client for a customer, with Ignyte, we're not having that issue anymore. We're able to simply go out there and get those backups, and we're not having issues with snapshots and stuff like that. So it's great to have this built in. It's actually been there in the last version, but you had to edit the registry to get to it. So now it's actually just a drop down in the client configuration. You can go ahead and set it up for Ignyte. And then, it is in beta now. In our next release, we're actually going to make that the default client going forward. And then you would have the option to use the old style, which we're currently calling standard, but it is the option that we are getting rid of. Now here, if we take a look, this is another place we've updated something. This is the grandfather, father, son, if you've been around as long as me, rotation. So previously we had this for virtual backups. So anything that was virtual, we could do this rotation. But now we've added in for physical backups also. So basically what this allows us to do is, say you want to do 4 backups a day. Well, here we can keep all of those 4 backups a day for 7 days. At the end of 7 days, we're going to keep the last backup of the day for a certain amount of weeks. Then we'll keep the last backup of the week for a certain amount of months, and the last backup of the month for a certain amount of years. So it gives us the ability to give you that granularity, that long-term retention, but also not keep thousands upon thousands of backup jobs stored for a level of granularity that most likely your customers don't need. Now, again, these are all tunable and configurable, so it is up to you if you want to go ahead and set the defaults, or you can even go in and fine-tune it by individual client if you want to. Now, boot verification. This has been a very popular feature that we've had. However, with it, we've also had the request to go ahead and extend how long we're waiting to make sure a machine comes online. So if you're confused about what boot verification looks like, I can go ahead and bring this up and show you boot verification. Boot verification is going to be all of these pretty pictures here that show us, all right, not only did we back this machine up successfully, but we've also booted it locally on the appliance without the network, and we've taken a snapshot for you. Well, now you can go in and fine-tune how long boot verification waits for that verification. Now, most of the times, the default settings are fine, but if you have something, say, an unusually large server, or you have something where maybe it's a domain controller. Now, domain controllers can take 7 to 10 minutes for a small domain controller to boot up without networking. So maybe you want to set this higher because your domain controller is taking a little bit longer to boot, and that's why we've added that option. Now, we look here, we can see that feature I was trying to point out earlier where we can say that the agent is outdated. We can see the checkbox, and we can see that it's got a little green check with the red. Now, if I go in here and say I want to do a restore, it's going to pop up and tell me, hey, you've got the old version. Do you want to push the newest one or just continue with the old version? Like I said earlier, it's fine to run on the old version. We support having an older version of the client. You know, absolutely, when you have a change control window and it's safe, go ahead and push out the new version. And if you need to reboot it, you can. But you can run in a mixed mode while you're working on getting that done. Now, next here, this is a feature I'm personally excited about because I demo this product every day, multiple times throughout the day. And it always kind of frustrates me when I bring up the window and it says, this is a scary web page. You should navigate away from it because it has a self-signed certificate. Well, now we offer you the option to upload your own SSL certificate. So you can go out to any of the major security providers or Let's Encrypt if you want to get a free one, and then get that SSL certificate, upload it here, and then you're able to actually have a secure certificate. So you no longer get that error. You get the green little lockbox, and everyone can be happy. So I'm super happy that this is built into the latest release. Now, another thing that's awesome to have is Hyper-V cluster support. So previously, if you had, VMware, you just no agents to install, you just back it up, you're good to go. You had Hyper-V, we put an agent on the Hyper-V server, and we can back up all the guests. Well, the problem with that, it was a clustered environment, and it moved, we couldn't track that. So we'd re-back it up as if it was a new machine. Now we have Hyper-V cluster support built in, so we can actually track it between the cluster, and we're going to be able to back it up so we can go agent-free in Hyper-V as far as we do in VMware. We do still need that agent on the Hyper-V server, but as far as all the guest OS that are on top of it, we don't need agents there anymore. Now, the last thing that I do want to bring up before we get into a tips and tricks kind of look at thing is now we've always had the ability to boot on different networks, but now we actually show in the boot what network you're booting on top of. So it's kind of a nice way to quickly see, all right, well, these machines are on an isolated private subnet. We're doing some testing. These are off network. We're just making sure they're up, or maybe we want to test the paths. These are on the production, so we know not to touch those because they are actually doing work on the production network. So it's great that we now have that visually there. We've also added in IP addresses and a bunch of other stuff on different screens, so it makes it a lot easier for you to manage. Now, like I said, I want to jump into the tips and tricks part of this. So when we talk about tips and tricks, we're really talking about stuff that makes it easier to deploy and manage the solution. Now, we've always had the ability to go in there and go to devices.infrascale.com, and that's going to go ahead and bring up all the machines that are on your network, right? So it's going to give you this view right here. It's going to show you the network. It's going to show you the different machines that are there, the IPMI for those machines that are on that network. It's going to make it easy to get in and configure the appliances. But now we've added in the option here where you can now see the IPMI within the appliance. If you just go to network status, it's going to show you if there's a bond set up, both the Ethernets that are built in, and it's going to show you that IPMI. Now, another thing that is added, and this one I'm super excited about too because I do a lot of deployments. So doing those deployments, we always had to run through that wizard, and our old wizard, we got the job done, but it wasn't as streamlined as it could have been. So now this is what the new wizard looks like. When you plug in an appliance, turn it on, and you go to set it up, it's going to ask you, what's your dashboard credentials? Where do you want to set it up? It's going to ask you to do the licensing agreement. It's going to ask you where this machine is located, what's the date and time, what password do you want to use to log into it, what do you want to rename the machine, what domain is it a part of, What's the networking? Do we want to enable replication? If so, it'll find its cloud partner and kick off replication when it reboots. And then last, it's going to look for firmware. And if there's a firmware update, it's going to download it, install it, and then when you hit apply and reboot, it's going to go ahead and upgrade you to the latest firmware. So instead of the multiple reboots that could happen previously, down to one reboot. It's really straightforward and simple to configure. So hopefully, there's going to be something that you guys enjoy, and it saves you guys a lot of time. Next, this has been a very much requested feature. So the ability to seed backups without having to go through our implementation team. Now, previously, if you had a customer that had a lot of data, 5, 10 gigs, or terabytes, and they didn't want to send that across the internet, well, we could seed the data, but we'd send you some drives. You'd get with the implementation team. They'd go ahead and mirror out that data for you. You'd ship us the drives, and then we'd do that up to the cloud machine, and you'd be seeded. Well, now you can just go in. You can go to Tools, Seeding, hook up any hard drive that you need to that's big enough, and seed that data. Now, if you want us to send you a hard drive, we can absolutely do that. Just let us know, and we'll ship out a hard drive, seed your data to that at your convenience, ship us that drive. We're going to load it in the cloud. But now you can do it on your own without having to schedule a time with implementation to make it happen. Now, another feature that I've had a request for is, all right, so we did a proof of concept maybe, and we're done with that. We're going to move to our forever appliance. We're going to get the appliance that's going to be here, and we're going to use it. How do I wipe my data? Well, here you can just go over to Security, Wipe Data. You can hit Wipe. It's going to warn you. This is irreversible. If you click this button, it's going to wipe all your data, and you'd have to basically re-back up the stuff that was on there. You also have the option here to deauthorize the license from the cloud and to wipe the secondary. So if you want to know that all your data in the cloud is gone, you can click Wipe Secondary, and that's going to wipe that. It's going to wipe the local appliance, and then you know that all of your information is gone from Infrascale. Now, the last thing that I do want to hit up here is the dashboard appliance monitoring. Now, this isn't something that's necessarily new to this current release. However, it's something that I want to make sure that people know is out there. So if you just go into your dashboard and you go to Monitoring, Appliance Hardware, now you can see all the different appliances that you've got out there. Now, if you're at your customer level, you'll just see the ones for that particular customer. Or if you're at the higher level, you're going to see all the appliances. And you can see everything from CPU usage, memory, the RAID usage, RAID status, replication. So here I can see this replication has been down for 46 days. Clearly, I need to go in and I need to look at that and figure out why. I can see here, this replication has been down for 10 days. But if we look here, this particular server is also offline right now. So I need to find out what's going on there. But this is a great, easy way to kind of go out and troubleshoot, find out what's going on within your appliances, within all of your different environments at a real quick glimpse. Now, with that being said, go ahead and open this up for Q&A. So take a look over here at the chat. Go ahead and ask Carla if any questions have come on into the chat while we were up in chit-chatting.
All right. Yeah, great demo, Chris. And everyone who is on the line, there is a Q&A tool. It should be right at the bottom of your page. And if you just type your question in there, we'll go ahead and I'll read the question and Chris can get you the answer to that. And while we're letting you guys get those questions in, for anyone who might have just missed the short intro, just to let you know, you will be receiving a copy of this video as well. So if there's anything that you wanted to go back and hear once more, just keep an eye out on your email, and you'll have that in your inbox in about 24 hours from now. And so far, the Q&A line looks pretty light. I don't see any questions that have come in. So, Chris, you must have had just covered every point that needed to be covered because there aren't any questions. So, great demo.
That is excellent.
Lots of good information. Yeah. So I just want to thank you, Chris, for the time here and walking through this. I want to thank everyone who's on the line for your time today. We really appreciate that, and we just look forward to your continued partnership. Keep an eye out on your email inbox for a copy of this video, and thank you so much. Have a great day.
So one last thing, you can see scrolling across the bottom are our social things. So whether it's YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, if you want to get in touch with us, we're out there on all the social things. So go ahead and reach out to us. Go to YouTube to watch our videos. We've got videos to walk you through a whole bunch of other things with the solutions. And with that, we'll go ahead and wrap this up. And if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email.